Welcome to 60 Skills. The topic of today's lecture is progressing with the letters. Okay, as many people on the channel know, Barden's Kabbalah is my favorite part of the 60 Skills curriculum. It's what I enjoy most, and it's what I like to spend most of my time working on. So, what is the most effective way to progress with the letters? Okay, first you need to work through the single letter key. The first third of Barden's third book, Key to the True Kabbalah, gives a comprehensive training platform for doing this, and I advise reading over this carefully, by which you slowly work your way through the individual components of a letter, the sound, the color, the sensation, until you can get to the point where you can do all of them for a given letter. Once you do this, you then need to work with the mother letters, SCH for fire, A for air, M for water, umlaut A for earth. And the reason for this is once you've done this, you can generate equilibrium using the elements, and that is the primary developmental pathway within Barden's system. Now, you need to practice with each individual mother letter for a minimum of 10 to 20 hours before you can develop it in a way where you can access the energy for this very clearly. Some people will do it a little sooner, some people will do it a little longer. Now, your ability at working with the letter will rapidly increase through about the 100-hour point of practice, at which it tends to slow down a bit. Keeping in mind, it depends on how you choose to practice the letters. If you primarily do it from a seed standpoint, you're going to get mostly mental energy with a little bit of astral. If you're doing a lot of posture or a lot of walking, you're going to get a lot of astral and quite a bit of vital as well. As one of my teachers, Mark Rasmus, once said, the energy will do whatever it is you train the energy to do. And this is an important factor to keep in mind. The energy is responsive to how you learn how to use it, which is why I personally suggest doing 15 minutes of lying practice out of body, 15 minutes of seated out of body practice, 15 minutes of posture or qigong practice with a given energy, and then 15 minutes of walking. If you know the rebounding or throwing techniques, those are particularly useful, but that's a partner-paired exercise and not something you can generally do on your own. All right, now you've gotten to your 100-hour point of the mother letters. You've learned how to establish equilibrium along the way. In the establishment of equilibrium, after a period of time, you begin to see this purple color kind of creep into your meditations. That's Akasha. Great, now you can learn how to work with Akasha and therefore non-dual light. Once you're working with Akasha and non-dual light, you are essentially an adult in esoteric practice and responsible for yourself. The reason being, access to Akasha gives you a hierarchical position over almost all of the spirits out there because you can dispel them at will. The result of which is, if you show up to meet with them after you've learned these mother letters, and you have your own Akasha and your own non-dual light, they tend to be very respectful and forthcoming. After this, I suggest working through the other 22 letters in the series. So again, the same pattern repeats itself, 10 to 20 hours of intensive practice, and then up through 100. Well, 60 skills, 100 hours per letter is a lot. That's like 2,700 hours. Correct. But there's a catch, because you know there's going to be a catch. If you can do 2 hours a day of practice with a letter for a week, what you can then do is you can also run the energy in the background continuously. This allows you to get your 100 hours in about 10 days. Now you're going to be a little unbalanced after this, and you should definitely do a fire water followed by a water letter, followed by an air letter, followed by an earth letter, followed by an Akashic letter, and so on to provide a little bit of balance. But doing this, you can work your way through the first letter key in about 270 days. I've never actually seen anybody pull it off. Life tends to intervene, but you could do it that way. Once you've got your time in with all of the single letters, then you want to start working with some letter combinations. This in turn works the same way. 10 hours with one letter, 10 hours with another letter, 10 hours with the combination of the letters, work through the 100 hours. Now, somewhere along the way, you're going to want to learn the 4-letter combinations for the elements. This is important because there's a capstone exercise you can do where you generate all 20 letters, that's the 4 letters for fire, air, water, and earth, as well as the 4-letter combination for Akasha, all at the same time. It's a very potent exercise and a lot of fun. Once you've done that, you've essentially skipped to the end of Kabbalistic letter practice. Now, this can take quite a long time. Personally, for me, it took about 5 years. It could probably be done in 3 to 4 if you cared to do it that quickly. At that point, you have the basics of letter practice down. By virtue of having worked with some 4-letter combinations for the elements, you can now work with all the 2- and 3-letter combinations as well. Keeping in mind the same pattern holds. The training method determines where the energy manifests, and you still need to do the combination of the letter as a single practice, just as you did with the individual letters. So if you're using the letter combination BS, for example, or EL for longevity, 10 hours of E, 10 hours of L, all right, you already did that. Then you go work on your 10 hours of E plus L, working up through 100 hours during the course of a week. It's the same thing for everything. If you're working with a 3-letter combination, it'll be a 3-letter of A, B, C together for 100 hours as well. You know, again, the more physical the result you're trying to get, generally the more time it's going to take to train, and the more physical you're going to have to make the effort to train that thing. There's really no getting around that. But that's a short and dirty, if you will, breakdown of how to progress with the letters. So if you like the topic of today's discussion, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. And if you would like to learn more about the 60 Skills curriculum, please check out the links contained in the box down below. Otherwise, train hard and be well.